Hello everyone and welcome to the final league session for Student Robotics 2021, league session number 4. We're back for the final league session. Everything after today is the grand final and the knockouts. You've had 5 weeks to work on your robot since the last league session. In that time we've run a couple of friendlies, which teams have been performing at very, very well. Last time we unveiled the huge changes that are module number 4, which we will go into very soon. And of course you've been hard at work, we hope, adapting your robots to those changes. And to help me run through the hopeful glory that will be League Session number 4, I'm joined, as always, by the ever-present Mr. Alistair Lynn.
Hello Jake, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very much looking forward to today and seeing sort of how teams will perform in our new arena. And speaking of the new arena, Mr. Lynn, what is the game?
Well, Mr. Jake, I'm glad you asked. The game looks very suspiciously something like this. It is called Radars of the Lost Ark this year. The goal is to capture these territories and gain points by doing so. Most territories are worth 2 points, with some exceptions. The bronze ones are worth 4 points, and the single gold one up in the centre there is worth 8. Robots drive up to it and then transmit a radio signal to capture it. They can only capture territories which they have direct links to from their home zones, possibly via other territories their own. And if you manage to break another robot's link, you will null out all of the territories downstream of that link if they don't have other links back to their home zone. So scores can change very, very dramatically in this game, really quite quickly, and we're expecting that to happen, well, more than once, shall we say, this league session, if the friendlies are anything to go by. As always, the detailed rules are available on the website, studentrobotics.org/docs. Read them and understand them, and come and bother us in chat or in Discord if you've got any questions. Let's talk about the robot.
Yes, this year the robot is very different. All robots look the same in this virtual competition edition. The robots have various numbers of sensors to detect their environment and move around it intelligently or not intelligently, depending on how said sensors are being used. As Alistair mentioned, the primary way to claim a territory is by using the radar, which is positioned just under the flag. This can be used for not only detecting towers and working out how far away you are, but also is the claiming mechanism. There is also a compass to tell you inside the arena which absolute position you are facing, which is also useful for orienting. And as well, dotted around the outside of the robot are 6 ultrasound distance sensors and 2 chuck sensors, one on the front and one on the back. Now, today we have quite a few matches coming up today. Lots to look forward to, lots to happen, lots to go wrong, lots to go right. We just have to see how things go. The websites are run on a highly intelligent, highly automated schedule. It's intelligent because we wrote it. You can get a schedule for all the matches that are happening today on our website at studentrobotics.org. The scores will also be up there. They will not be up instantaneously, but they should be up very shortly after the end of a match. Now, the match in the game for today, unlike all the other league sessions we've done today, Alistair, we're not unveiling a new module today.
No, we are not. This is the final game. After today, we will know the final state of the league, and that's going to be used to seed the knockouts for the grand finals, which will be running next week. Teams will have an opportunity to submit changes to their code based on today, but it will be the same game played next week, and we'll announce all the details about how that's all going to work after the matches today. So we've got no new modules. As always, If you want any help between this week and next week, getting your robots ready for the grand finals, come and chat to us. We are in the YouTube chat today. We're on Discord. Docs are helpful as ever.
Yeah, the docs very important. We say this all the time, is read the docs. We write them. We don't just write them because we like the I was going to say sound of our own voice, but it's not. It's the look of our own words. Which is a phrase which doesn't quite have.
No, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it?
No, it doesn't. Let's bypass any language stuff and let's take a look at the league table.
Yes,
the league table is much more interesting. The league table being completely up to date with the state of things. We are starting now. We have an almost exact Hills Road foursome at the top of our leaderboard there. HRS4 nicely topping this out in first place with 45 league points and 182 game points, followed reasonably closely by HRS1 and HRS3, splitting the Hills Road grouping there right at the top is Team MAI, Gymnasiummarkt Indersdorf, right up in 4th place with a huge 150 points and 40 league points. And then just under those is the HRS number 2, sat in 5th place. Position number 6, we have Kegs Chelmsford, whose we've seen some very, very impressive performances over this competition. They've been doing incredibly well. And in position number 7, we have a rookie team for this year's competition, Team St. Paul's, the missile-wielding team that we saw in last weekend's friendlies. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, highly recommend going back and watching them. There's some entertaining video clip right at the end of that. St. Paul's were performing incredibly well in last week's leagues, so we will have to see quite how they perform. Under those is another rookie team from outside the UK, is Team We Robots from France. They've been doing, again, incredibly well. We saw they weren't quite on their game last week, but we're hoping they've had a nice week to be able to fully improve, iron out all the bugs, and get going on things. Underneath that, we have Team ELC in the Elton College and St. Olaf's team number 2. Position number 11 finds a very veteran team to the Student Robotics competition in Team Barton Peveril at BPV with 33 league points. Underneath that, position number 12, we have Team Colliers, team number 1. Position number 13, we have Team TKC from Malaysia, followed very closely by the Malay College, Team MCK, in position number 14. Position 15 sees St. Olaf's team number 1, who have unfortunately dropped out of this competition, so we probably won't see a performance from them today, but they're still there, sitting there at position number 15. And position 16 sees our Brunei team, Team YSH, there with 25 league points. Team Keg, Team HWM number 1 in 17 and 18. And then rounding out the bottom of the pack, we have Team WGS South Wilts, who are a late entry to our competition this year, and Team Lawrence Sheriff. And of course, the robot that I scrubbed over, which is Team SRZ, who are, well, it's actually you, Alistair.
Well, yes, it was me this time. It was our colleague Andy Barrett-Sprott for its appearance in the first league session. So SRZ is the house robot, which we are using to pad out to an even number of teams. It will not be appearing in the finals, but it will be appearing today. We calibrate it to be about lower middle of the pack, so that it's a fair competition for anyone who gets placed up against the house robot.
And so if it loses, we don't look so terrible.
Well, let's talk about this first match, shall we?
Yes.
So up here we have TKC, one of our Malaysian teams, and they will be going up against HRS number 3 in this first match of our final league session. Good luck to both teams. We've I'm going to be really interested to see how they both do in this match, based on the respective performances in the friendlies.
Yeah, we
And
can
off they
see
go.
very nice lighting there just as we start off. Both teams great there at taking their first territories right at the bottom. We've seen a lot of teams going for that bottom strategy there.
Yeah, almost all of them. Hills Road team number 3 gets out slightly quicker. We're seeing very similar performances here, but Hills Road 3 are just very slightly quicker at it. Oh no! Now they've diverged. Now look, TKC are going up and they're taking the route around, but but HRS meanwhile are going very much for the bottom area. So this could be quite contentious. It really depends on what HRS 3 do at this point. If one team is going for the south area and one team's going for the north area, I'm not sure how these points are going to pan out. And look, that bronze territory right at the top there, which is called Flalesbury, is taken by TKC, but they lose it. We have the first cutting of the day. Look, Hills Road 3 took I Trumpeton there, and then they're taking Pinkton, and that cut off TKC's link up to Flalesbury there. So they lost the territory. They're now going to have to go around and claim some points mighty quick, because that was a very speedy change in their fortunes there, going up to 16 points at the moment for HRS3, only 4 for TKC.
Yeah, it seems
they've chipping variable again.
They've not quite noticed the fact that they have no territory links. At least here, chipping variable, they've been able to steal some points back off of HRS number 3, but unfortunately, as we saw earlier, they weren't quite realizing that without a territory link, they can't claim anything.
Didn't matter, because they just took Beeston, and that's swapped over the points again. And with 4 seconds to go, having broken the link there to the territory of Hattersley right in the middle, they take that match 8 points to 6. You see, fortunes change very, very rapidly as those links break. You've got to be quite defensive in this module.
Yeah, link breaking is a very, very powerful thing and can massively, just in a split second right at the end of a match, as we saw, can just completely change the entire outlook of the competition.
We had 2 fairly dramatic changes of fortunes there. There was the I Trumpeton capture by Hills Road 3, and then that Beeston capture right at the end there by TKC. That was an exciting match. It all changes very quickly. Well done to both teams there. TKC, as I recall, had some Zone 1 problems from the friendlies last week.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams have that sort of not quite sure what corner they're in, and having only tested in corner 0, then when they're in corner 1, their brain has no idea what's going on.
HRS 3 obviously were absolutely fine there, but some teams have had troubles here. Right, what have we got coming up here? We've got Hills Road number 1 in the pink, and they'll be facing against Gymnasium Mark Tindersdorf in the yellow.
I'm glad we've been able to wear you down such that you are still calling it pink.
Fine, it's pink.
Yes, so both robots, again, going off the line there. They are nicely grabbing those 2 territories right at the bottom. We've seen HRS number 1 going straight in for the centre, but MAI going for the slightly more reserved approach, taking Swixtoe before moving on to Scarsingford.
Oh, that was interesting. Sorry, I was about to say this was a kind of a mirror of the last match, but did you see what happened there in Scarsingford? Hills Road number 1 went in, and they were inside when they began the capture, but the momentum carried them outside the territory there, I think.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
So they were just outside of the zone at the end of the capture, and they didn't take the territory. That's changed their fortunes quite dramatically.
Yeah, you do have to stay inside the territory for the entire duration of the claim. Otherwise, as you say, nothing happens. Now, I don't know what both robots are doing now. They just seem to be equally driving into the faces of each other, which is an interesting tactic. It probably won't pay off.
Prepare for ramming speed.
Yes, right into the face. generally not a place you want a robot ramming into you at full speed, especially not when,
No.
due to the physics of our simulation, these robots weigh roughly 70 kilos.
Yes, they are pretty tanky. In fact, they are so tanky that we discovered they're not actually physically realisable.
Yes, the
Well,
materials
there's
that
one part-
the wheels
one-
are made out of, I think, is
Yes, the wheels.
denser than any material known to man at the moment.
It's not as dense as neutron star stuff. It's not nuclear pasta, but it is denser than certainly any conventional material found on Earth. Significantly denser. So don't attempt to build these robots. What I'll do, win a Nobel Prize in the process.
Yeah.
And at the end of the match there, that was 4 points to 14. I take the win there, and I think that all really came down to that capture attempt at Skarsingford. Now, that failed capture is a much bigger risk if using the async API. I don't know if Hills Road 1 were using the two-stage async capture there, but it also can happen. And what I think happened there is that it was momentum. Even if you're using the non-async capture API, the normal capture API, if your momentum takes you out of the territory, by the time the capture ends, you're not going to get the territory. And they were just outside the range there, it looked like to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So
I mean,
rather
whilst
unfortunate for Hills Road
we've
there,
said
yeah.
that the robots are not very physically realisable, momentum we do still have. So make sure
they're not-
hard
yes.
stop potentially once you are in the right place.
They're heavy, but they still do obey normal Newtonian dynamics.
Yeah, we saw the yeeting out of the arena at the SR2020 composition. We haven't seen
Yes.
any of that this year, thank God.
Yes. We're working on improving the simulator for you. Less of a space program this time. All right. Up next, we have Hills Road team number 4. They'll be facing up against We Robot. We Robot. First one we've seen taking the northern route. Hills Road 4 goes south and immediately take Oxmouth, whereas We Robot do a very nice movement there. They go around and take Yellowware.
That we've never seen that before. This
No,
entire
this-
I mean, this is the first time we've deployed this map in a league, but still.
We haven't seen this in any of the friendlies. They're doing really well here. They immediately go up and take Flailsbury, getting that bronze token worth more points. This is magnificent. This is going to be quite contentious. I'm not sure how this is going to go. Well, if they can at least get past each other. They're currently slightly stuck on each other. Looks like they're going to squeeze past each other eventually. Hills Road 4 are slightly caught on that wall, heading over towards Badger Nest there. Chipping variable taken by We Robot though, and now they're going to get Beeston as well. It's a magnificent performance from We Robot.
Moving
here.
into Hattersley as well. Yeah, we designed the arena such that it was roughly equal on the points based on the top half and the bottom half. The top half, fewer territories, but more points. And so it's entirely valid to go around the top first. And as we can see here, We Robot, it is really paying off. 22 points.
I think they're going to take Yamalot. Yes, they do. 30 points. That's a very, very, very solid performance there. And they get Pinkton as well, just add insult to injury. I mean, Hills Road 4 are going to claim it. No, they're not going to claim it back. What happened there?
I don't know.
They're just outside.
No,
I think they had some. I think that was some async troubles. I think they might have restarted the capture before the previous one is finished. If you're using the two-stage capture API and you restart the capture, it restarts. Yeah, I think that was some async difficulties.
That's for sure. Well, we've got a live replay, so we can take a look at exactly
let's
happened.
find out what happened there.
So we can see here the Pinkton territory. Both robots going for it.
Captured by We Robot.
Yep.
Just
at the end, they rotated themselves out of it because the center of rotation is not directly underneath the flag.
No. They get it afterwards.
Just as they pivoted, we can see here, whilst they're in there, they're out there. That's all it took. Just that little shimmy.
Just
enough.
The antenna is attached to the flagpole, and they were just outside of range.
They're not centering around. They're not pivoting around it. That's unfortunate. But still, an amazing performance from both the teams there.
Really, really good performance there. Right, coming up next, we have Barton Peveril. They'll be appearing in pink, and they will be going up against St. Paul's, who will be appearing in the yellow in this match.
I'm looking forward to seeing what this match does. St. Paul's were just storming through our friendlies, and I mean, if they counted, they would have got tons of points, but
yeah,
they don't count. That's their point.
They were a very, very scary team in the friendlies. Yes. So let's see how they do this time.
Not just because of the missiles. So, as I said, Barton Peveril in the pink and St. Paul's in the yellow. St. Paul's after a flying start there, taking Banana Nest, moving almost towards Switchstone, instead taking Skarsingford and lining up to Hivekirk. In the meantime, Barton Peveril off to a slower start, having only just taken Oxford, trying to line up to the tallest of ships and missing it. And it seems they've also just out of range of chipping variable there. Not a problem for St. Paul's there, putting their lead nicely up to 12 whole points. And then they're taking the only territory that Barton Peveril had at that point. That's unfortunate. They've always claimed all the territories in that bottom zone in the first 50 seconds of the match.
To see that though, they rotated themselves out of Hattersley. I mean, they got it immediately afterwards because they're being quite intelligent and checking after each one. But yeah, one thing I do find interesting about St. Paul's is that they went down and took Oxmouth there. Now, going down and taking Oxmouth or Banana Nest is a slightly risky strategy. It takes a long time to navigate down there, and you do open yourself up to being cut off in the process. But if you do so, it makes it much, much harder for the opponents. So it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah, and speaking of their opponent, Barton Peveril there seem to just be stuck on that central wall there.
No signs of life from Barton Pev.
St. Paul's are taking full advantage of, leading right up to 42 points. Now, we've so far in this competition of this arena layout, we've not seen a full home run where they have claimed all territories, but with 8 seconds left, we may be seeing it for the first time today. Yes.
Oh, yes,
there it is.
Do. Wow,
52 game points.
52 points for St. Paul's.
For St. Paul's.
They were a scary team in the friendlies, and they're even scarier now. Wow.
That's if robots had underwear, they'd be well and truly soiled there at the incredibly stonking performance of St. Paul's there.
Goodness.
That is, I mean, I said they were doing incredibly well, but I was not expecting that.
St. Paul's coming in, bringing it home. Wow. That is, they were, even aside from the missiles, they were putting on a very, very strong performance in the friendlies. And we're seeing that carrying through here in spades. They go through, they play the high risk, high reward strategies, and then they just go around, capture all the ones that are across the top when they see they have the opportunity, take it home. That is the first full house we've seen in this arena. We didn't see any of the teams manage that in the friendlies at all, but they are bringing it in here. Dead impressive performance from St. Paul's there. Right, who have we got up here? We've got Colliers. They'll be appearing in the pink, and they'll be going up against Kegs, who are appearing in the yellow. Colliers we haven't seen in the friendlies. Not entirely sure what to expect from them. Could be anything. Kegs generally a pretty strong performance. They've got a really quite intelligent robot. So we'll see how it adapts here. And off they go. Kegs also taking the North strategy. Interesting. We weren't seeing them doing that in the friendlies, but they're doing it here. Colliers, in the meantime, take a slightly more conservative, traditional strategy. They go down, they take Oxmouth, and they take the tall ship. Yellowware taken by Kegs in the meantime, and now they take Ponyhurst. Now going down to Hivekirk. Looks like they may be doing a pivot down towards the South Territories. And we have Port Lucent, the southmost territory, taken by Colliers there. Then they head back up towards Beeston, presumably now heading up towards the Bronze Territory. that is Hattersley. Kegs, interestingly, going for all the ones over on their side. They're very much an east-focused team right now, both at the top and bottom. North and south. They head back up towards Skarsingford, but they've already taken it. They don't attempt to recapture, which is good, because if you attempt to capture a territory you already own, it will flip back to being neutral. They instead head south, take Port Lucent, and they don't go up towards Beeston, but instead take Chipping Burial, breaking that territory link. That's shifted the points quite dramatically. They're now lined up for Beeston, and they'll be able to take it home. And unfortunately, Collier's there. Collier's lining up to take Yamalot. That would have been a huge point swing towards Collier's there. But unfortunately, the links were broken before they got the opportunity to claim it. And unfortunately, Collier's looks like they're just kind of stuck there at Yamalot. We're not quite sure what's going on. You really, really need to test against other robots, or at least test against your own robots, so that you can practice what happens in these territory breaking situations. And yeah, unfortunately, their Collier's just sort of dumbfounded. And Kegs, really, really strong performance here. They might take another one, they might not, but it doesn't matter at this point. They've got 26 points against the 6 points of Collier's.
Yeah, that I absolutely no idea what happened there with the Collier's robot. They were there, lined up perfectly to Yamalot, and just they weren't even trying to claim it, which was the strange thing. We could see there was no feedback of the pink.
Yeah, that's true.
Pink tower. So it's entirely possible that the robot just unfortunately, I was going to say died, but robots don't die; they just crash. Yes, that's
yeah. It's possible, or it's possible that they detected at that point that they couldn't claim it because they detected that the Hattersley had flipped back neutral, but then didn't have. But then the logic broke down about what to do in that circumstance. Possible. We'd have to have a look at the code to find out.
Yeah, well, as always, we will be shipping the logs and animation step by steps over to teams there. After the end of this match, they will have all the information you need to correctly diagnose, debug, and understand exactly what on earth went well, what on earth went wrong, and things like that. So, coming up, match number 113, we have HWM number 1, Harris Westminster 6th Form, and St. Olaf's Grammar School, team number 2. Both teams going for the southern approach, which we can now actually clarify because some teams are taking the northern approach, which is great to see. Bananas and Oxmouth have fallen now 2 teams. Unfortunately, Harris Westminster seem to have stopped just before taking Chipping Variable or Toolship. A mistake which St. Olaf's are taking full advantage of and moving towards Skarsingford and now taking Beeston.
I'm not sure what's happened to Harris Westminster. We didn't see them in the friendlies. So they may be having some code issues there. They do manage to claim that one territory. It was kind of a mirror match to start with.
Yeah,
So
you see, a lot of our robots end up in mirrors at first, and then it's as time goes on, the sort of possibilities of strategy diverge. It seems there.
Signs of life. Signs of life.
Just immediately, as soon as St. Olaf's there, went anywhere near Harris Westminster, they immediately jump back into life, even if life now involves driving full force into your opponent's face. It's a form of life, I guess.
There's a sort of, it's the opposite of a tug of war.
A push of peace?
a push of peace. There's a push of peace going on over the left-hand side here.
Doesn't look particularly peaceful.
No, it doesn't look particularly peaceful. It looks like one of them is toggling their motors periodically, and so it shunts a bit, but then they go back to being just at loggerheads. I don't think this is going to be a very exciting match from this point onwards. I was interested to see like the SOG2's movement there looked really quite precise. I don't know if you saw that when they were claiming their central territories. Like, it was basically a dead straight line between each one. I wonder how they're doing that.
Precise and accurate movement using sensors based on the environment is all we can assume.
you really need to like take in sensor readings to do precise movement, which is presumably what they're doing there. You can get kind of some way with Dead Reckoning, and there are some tricks you can do to make your Dead Reckoning a bit better. But actually controlling based on the compass, based on the radio towers, based on the bump sensors and ultrasound sensors, will get you much better results. You basically need that for the really precise movement.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dead Reckoning can only get you so far because of the fact that whilst it's a simulator, it's not perfect. We've added artificial jitter to make it more realistic, even if realistic is imperfect. And unfortunately, you cannot rely. You can rely up to a point, but anything more than that, you need the intelligent movement to properly get anywhere. And we've seen that the teams higher up the leaderboard are taking full advantage of that intelligent movement, and hopefully the other teams will have a chance to implement it and test it and stabilize it before the knockouts. Now, next match coming up, hopefully we will see some intelligent movement out of both teams here. In the pink, we have the Eltham College, and storming off the start line there, we have Team YSH from Brunei. Now, unfortunately, whilst I said they were storming off, they seem to have overshot, slightly missed Banana Nest, and are focusing more on our lower arena wall there than any actual territory, which...
It was a flurry of... Well, it was definitely a very enthusiastic start.
Yeah, I'd like to give them points for enthusiasm, but we don't do that here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Eltham College nicely getting a 4 territory lead, giving them 8 points, and as they move into Hattersley and claim that 2, they take advantage of the bronze territory being worth 4 and jumping up to 12 points. Team YSH, there's still very few signs of life there. It might be that they haven't quite clocked that front micro switch, being able to detect that they are in fact driving full force into a wall for an entirety of a match.
Yeah.
Eltham College there seem to maybe be having a similar issue there. It looks like they're almost like their wheel is caught.
I think what's happening to Eltham there is that they're doing just a threshold on the front ultrasound. So they push up to the wall, realize there's an obstacle in front of them, back off very slightly, pulling themselves out of the range, and then go, okay, we're going to drive forwards again. So they're just oscillating, going in and out of the ultrasound range. I've seen that quite a lot.
Yeah, that slowly looks like they're trying to free themselves, getting slightly further away from Hattersley, but it may be a little too little, a little too late. Now, is an interesting question coming from our chat here, which is along the lines of, are robots waterproof? Or more specifically, are our robots waterproof?
They'd have to be.
They might be. That would involve putting water in the simulator, which I don't want to try and do. And I'm pretty sure, given how dense they are, they will almost certainly not float.
That ain't gonna work. Yeah. They're pretty solidly built. I don't know how well they might rust.
Well, that is assuming they are in fact made of metal.
Whatever this mystery material is that the wheels are made of, it might oxidize. We don't know. Likely it's got actually probably more of a bigger issue is that it's probably quite radioactive.
Teams, please don't fill our arena full of water. We're not going to do it in the real matches. If you want to try, I mean, that's fine. If you can make your robot float, so be it. So, Alistair, what's coming up in match 115?
We have the team from Southwelts, who will be appearing for their first time. Southwelts were a relatively late entrant into the competition as a whole, so they're lower down the league than they would have been if they'd appeared in the first couple of league sessions. And they will be going up against the House Robot. Now, as mentioned, the House Robot is calibrated to be sort of lower middle of the pack. So basically the ones to watch here are South Wilts. They get Oxmouth, they get the tall ship, so they're doing pretty well so far. Lining up presumably for chipping variable. Up they go, they grab it. See how well they do at capturing that central area. They're going to need to capture Beeston. They take it from the north. Interesting. So the movement there seemed to be quite deliberate. They're coming and not just going straight towards Beeston, but also approaching it from the north. I was going to say approaching it from the north so they can go up and take Hattersley, but then they immediately head south and get Port Lucent instead. House Robot comes in and takes Beeston back off them, so they'll need to head back up and capture it, take it back, reclaim it. Hopefully they have the intelligent movement to be able to do that. Or maybe they're heading up back north. It looks like they're slightly stuck there between the central wall and the tower and chipping variable.
Yeah, I think we got another issue of they're doing a little bit of back off with the ultrasound, but maybe they're not.
A wiggle movement there.
Looks like they're sort of rocking themselves to sleep almost there.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the student robotics robot there nicely taking Bagginus, and now I have no idea what it's doing. Oh, it's going for Oxford. That's a risky move, as we say. It's a very long way to Oxford, and whilst it has now completely cut off the South Wilts robot, that's
sorry, South Wilts.
Yeah. Whoops.
Cool. Yeah. So we had a strong start from South Wilts there, and unfortunately they just got caught up a bit against that wall. The collision avoidance code is really, really difficult to get right. But it's really worth putting the time in to figure out how to avoid these issues. One issue that comes up a lot is this thresholding thing. So teams will just threshold the ultrasounds. Go essentially, if it's closer than some number, then we'll consider that we've essentially hit the obstacle. If it's further away, then we're fine. But the problem is that then you get this behavior where you're just sort of repeatedly moving forward and backward near the obstacle, but never really getting anywhere. So you got to be a bit smarter with the back-off behavior. It can help to, even using a random number to go, okay, 10% chance each time we back off that we do some random movement or something, and be able to move out based on that. Right, coming up next, we have the Malay College making their first appearance of today, and they'll be going up against Hills Road team number 2.
Yes, match 116. This should be an interesting one. We've got Express number 2 are sat in 8th position. MCK, where are they? I can't read. Oh, there they are, down in 14th.
Yep.
Yes, let's see how this goes. Both teams off almost a mirror start there, very quickly off. Taking Oxmouth, taking Banana S. Both teams struggling a little bit positioning around the central tower, and we can see both of them going Toolship and Switchstow. And this is, almost mirror strategies there. The Express 2 robot having a little more sporadic movements there. Skarsingford there falling, and Bagginus is next. Now, MCK, they're going for the top territory. They may be going for Shooter Hammer. Yes, they are, lining that up. And in the meantime, Express number 2 stealing shipping variable, cutting a territory link. But fortunately, because MCK have taken Bagginus, and Bagginus has a link straight back to their home zone, they lose no territories. And as they moonwalk back into the southern area of our arena, they're lining up to Oxmouth, which is a territory they already have.
Maybe they're just using that for alignment. Get yourself into a known positions, and then you can navigate from there.
Yeah, and we've seen now Malay College taking Beeston, which removes the link to Hattersley, which
Yeah.
They haven't decided to go for it, instead taking Skarsingford now. That's 18 points to 8. HRS2 appear to have noticed and are stealing Skarsingford back, but that's no issue.
Are Hillsborough going to take... Yeah, they just need to get one more. This is going to be very close.
Yeah.
If they can get Hattersley...
That's 16 all right at the end.
Dead tie.
Ooh.
Dead tie right at the end there. That was... Ooh, that really did come down to that last few seconds there. Wow, really, really strong performance from both teams there.
Yeah, and it's that a perfect example there of how territory links and just some final small chain of things can massively shift around the final state of a match just several times there in the final 10 seconds. It really is anyone's game right until that clock strikes 0 and the arena is filled with an ominous red glow, which we've added for this league session.
Yes.
Yes, rather than robots just seemingly freezing, they're now bathed in a red glow of ominousness.
Ominosity.
Ominosity, yes, that was... I don't need to understand words. That makes sense.
How do words work? What is word?
How are word?
Yes. All right, let's have a look at the next match. We've got Barton Peveril appearing for the second time today, I believe. They'll be going up against SOG number 2, St. Olave's team number 2. The St. Olave's teams merged. And so this is their singular team now. So let's see how this singular team of theirs does against Barton Peveril of Eastleigh. So SOG2 are the faster ones down there. We saw a pretty good performance from them last time around. Their lineup get switched though pretty quickly. Presumably next going to go up for Skarsingford. It's the slightly more conservative play to go for Switch Stowe and Tallship first instead of Skarsingford and Chipping Variable. Because they're much safer territories, but they get you into that central area slower. Maybe we had a failed capture from Barton Peveril there on Chipping Variable. This is quite similar to what we saw from them last time around. And instead, Chipping Variable falls to SOG2, St. Olave's, who then turn back and go down towards Port Lucent. Grab it there. And presumably they're going to go up and... Are they going to take Oxmouth or are they going to take up the top route? No, they're heading down towards Oxmouth, so really cutting off all of the territories there. 0 points, unfortunately, now for Barton Peveril. Let's see if Barton Peveril can get dislodged. Now, presumably, St. Olave's are going to need to navigate up to the north. They might accidentally dislodge Barton Peveril there. We've seen that before, but no, they don't. They go up, they take Badger Ness, and now lining up towards Trumpeton. So they're going for the central area, presumably so that they can get Yamalot. Yep, Trumpeton falls. They need to navigate around it. Instead, they smash themselves into that tower. No, see, they've got some navigation issues here. They're just pushing into the tower of Trumpeton. They need to back off, turn, and go around it to get that gold territory out. Not that it matters with 24 points there.
Yeah,
they're
it
still
also
very much in the lead.
It looks like possibly because the territory is off slightly to one side, it might be so far that it's not triggering that front micro switch. Which
possibly
proves again that you can't just rely on one method of sensing. Using that, if they were backing that micro switch up with checks on the distance using the radio, then they'd be able to see, wait, we're not moving, something gone wrong. And whatever they do when that happens, obviously, is entirely up to them.
Yeah, it's always a huge difference if you can come up with robust backup strategies. Use all the sensors available. Use expectations available. If you try and capture, you can then do a sweep, detect whether your capture worked, that sort of thing. but as we've seen today, there are all sorts of reasons why the action you're planning to take might not pan out exactly as the robot expects, and smart back-off behavior can make all the difference between just kind of rolling with it and dealing with it and getting stuck, like so many of these robots have.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that intelligence is good.
Intelligence is good,
Intelligence is good.
Intelligence, good. More intelligence, please.
More intelligence, more good. Let's see if both of these teams have learned that lesson. In the pink, we have Team ELC from the Eltham College. HRS number 4 there in yellow. Both teams going for the southern approach, taking Oxmouth, Banana S, and both going for the slightly less aggressive approach, going for Toolship and Switchstow, rather than Scarsingford and Shipping Variable. Seeing some shuddery movement there from Eltham. Now that might just be a way of doing some very intelligent catching up of positions, so making sure that they can move a little bit, orient themselves, move a little bit, orient themselves, or it's just a different signature way of moving. Either one is absolutely fine. Now it seems there we have HRS number 4 caught very slightly on just the edge of that central wall there, which unfortunately will not be moving. Now, Eltham College there taking Scarsingford, which means that Hills Road number 4, they do still have a link to Hivekirk, but if they go around and try and get Ponyhurst, then, well, they won't be able to. And it seems just they've now been able to dislodge themselves from that central wall there. Eltham there, again, they're caught on the Beeston Tower, which, that's a shame. They might be able to dislodge themselves. They're now moving towards Shipping Variable. Will they be intelligent enough not to try and claim it? Yes, they will. XRS4 there are sitting... XRS4 are sitting right at the top of our league table. And for the team in first place, I was sort of expecting a slightly stronger performance. It may be that since our last league session, they've been having technical issues, or have introduced a terrible bug in things, or just running that bit slower. But Eltham College there nicely taking advantage of that, giving themselves 10 points.
Yeah, an unusually unimpressive performance from the Hills Road team for Robot there. It must be maybe this is a Zone 1 curse coming to bite them for the last league session. So we'll have to see how they do in Zone 0. Very unfortunate. I mean, this can happen, like last minute bug. Yeah, I mean they've done really well so far, so they'll still be in a really good position going into the knockouts. But yeah, caught out by some last minute difficulties there in this last session of the league. Right, coming up next, Harris Westminster will be making their second appearance, and they will be appearing against the mighty St Paul's over in the right-hand side in the yellow. The St Paul's, they were really strong in their last appearance. I imagine it's going to be quite similar here. Harris Westminster had some difficulties. See how they do this time, basically. So they both immediately move off the line. Harris Westminster slower there than St Paul's. They do navigate down to Oxmouth in a bit of a burst there. Hopefully they need to line up and turn now over towards Toolship. Scarsingford taken by St Paul's. One thing that St Paul's are doing there, which is quite interesting, is turning themselves while they're still in the territory, using the using the async API. But look, that's one of the risks of doing that. They turned themselves out of the territory there before capturing it. That's
for sure. At least, just about there. It looked like they were almost about to repeat the same thing, but fortunately, no. They were able to stay inside and have actually claimed Beeston this time.
Yeah, so they need to... look at that. Harris Westminster has just been dislodged. So they're presumably getting into some kind of strange state there, off their starting zone. But the interaction there actually dislodged. And look, St. Paul's again getting caught out by rotating themselves out of a territory before getting the capture.
A little too optimistic there.
Yeah, they do go down and get switched though. Now Harris Westminster going in to claim Beeston there, but unfortunately they don't have a link back to the home territory there. So they're doing better this time around, but unfortunately because Oxmouth was taken by St. Paul's there, it's not working for them.
Yeah.
They go down and try and claim Port Lucent too, but again, unfortunately, they don't have the territory links to support it. Yamalot taken by St. Paul's, and they head up towards Flalesbury as well, heading down to Trumpeton. They're not going to complete the set this time around. They're not going to get a full house, but they're going to get quite close. A mere 46 points for St. Paul's there. Wow.
I think that's a terrible performance from them. That's
what are they doing?
Only 46 points.
And Harris Westminster, we saw more signs of life in this, so it's not that they just get stuck down there at Oxmouth. They were able to do better movement. Unfortunately, they weren't, because they're against St. Paul's. They were left without the links they were expecting, and then it looks like they're not checking for the links back to their home territory, which is generally a good idea. But yeah, so they are past some signs of life from House Westminster, and hopefully they do a bit better when they're in Zone 1. Their next two appearances in this league will be in the other zone, in the yellow zone, Zone 1. So hopefully we'll see a bit of a better performance out of them. But a strong performance again from St. Paul's. And St. Paul's, their remaining appearances will all be in Zone 0. Each team gets 2 appearances in this league session, 2 in Zone 0, 2 in Zone 1, and now in Zone 0 we have Hills Road number 2, and they'll be facing off against Hills Road number 3. A suspiciously Cambridge-flavoured match.
Yes, the battle of the HRSs is... It's definitely grammatically correct.
It's the correct plural.
Yes, we can see both
territories... pluralization's morphology, not grammar.
Shh, please don't nerd snipe me. So, Toolship there was nice. Switched over, it seems, unfortunately, claimed they may have just been slightly outside of there. We saw the claim bar go up and then stop immediately. It may be that they timed out and weren't able to call the closing territory claim API in time, or just something else very weird happened. Speaking of weird, HRS2 there, very interested in ramming headfirst into the Beeston Tower. Not really a strategy, but sure.
I think that Hills Road 3, I've got a problem here where they occasionally restart a claim that is finished without finishing it. And that resets the clock. Resets the bar down to the bottom. For anyone who's experimented with the keyboard robot, this is good to be able to test locally. You can use, there's a robot included with the simulator, which is controlled by, keyboard controls. And you can use that to test your robot against. But you'll find that if you hit the button to start a claim, it will just sit there at the bottom until you release the button because it's repeatedly starting the claim. So at the moment we've got 6 points to 8. Hills Road team number 2. Yes, they head down and claim Port Lucent, so that puts them in a better position. If they can go and get Beast, and they should be good. Hills Road 3 are up in Trumpeton, but unfortunately they don't have a link back to the home zone to be able to get anything there. So Hills Road 3 are in a slightly awkward position. And Hills Road 2, who have a notably intelligent robot, Hills Road number 2. They do pit them to it. They get finished out on 14 points to 6.
Yeah.
The bronze territory is worth more points than the ordinary territories. So, yeah, really, really strong performance there from Hills Road number 2. They had some slight issues going on, but that didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, we've seen very, very strong performances from, all the HRS teams now. We've seen, whilst they were very high up in the league at the beginning of today, and it shows they're very, very strong robots.
They are. Now, who have we got coming up next? So next up, we've got South Wilts, and they'll be going up against the Malay College. So South Wilts, as mentioned before, they're relatively new entrant to the competition as a whole. Not relatively new to student robotics. They've been mainstays of student robotics since, I think, 2012. But they are relatively new to this competition. The Malay College were entrants into, I think, started in League 2 this year. So 2 later entrants into the competition. Let's see how they do against each other. Now, the ones I'm kind of interested to watch here are MCK.
Sounding very sure of yourself there.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to. I think it was them. I think we saw some Zone 1 curse troubles from them in the league.
Well, you see, South Wilts there are having a bit of an issue there, orienting around the bottom of the wall there.
No Zone 1 troubles from MCK right now. They're doing really well. Straight up, get Switchto, get Skarsingford. Kind of an interesting meandering movement from South Wilts there. And it works for them. They do get tall ship, and they're now heading up towards Tipping Variable. And they do admittedly head up towards Tipping Variable in a dead straight line. Basically see how they go from there. The Malay College going for getting all the territories on their side, but they now back themselves into that corner there on the wall that drops. We'll have to see what happens once that wall drops. At 1 minute, the wall
keep going backwards. Apparently,
they keep going backwards and hit the back wall. Okay, I don't know what I expected. South Wilts, they're still moving around. Hopefully, they can line up and either head towards Badger-Ness or turn around there and get Hattersley for that sweet bonus points. But they're looking like they're a bit caught here. More wall back off troubles. No, they're not actually caught there on the Chipping Variable Tower. This really is just wall back off behaviour against the central wall. At the moment, it's a dead tie, 10 points each. So
both teams having slight movement issues, and with just a couple of seconds left, it's probably a little too late to have any kind of a win.
Yeah, it could do. It now can't.
No, it definitely can't.
All right, 10 game points each for a dead tie. So that gives them, they score 3 each in that league. So the way that the league works is that for each match you win in the league, you will score 4 points. For each match you lose, but still turn up to, you get 2 points. And then for a tie, it's 3 points each. Yeah. If for any reason a team were disqualified from one of the matches or didn't submit anything, they don't get any league points.
To clarify, that is all league points. Game points are what are totted up by claiming territories and doing things in the match. League points are purely based on how you position at the end of a match relative to your competition.
So this is much like how a league works in normal sports, say football. The goals, the equivalent of game points, determine the outcome of the match, and then you get some number of points in the league.
Yes, it's almost like we didn't want to try and reinvent the entire sporting world.
Yeah, it turns out there's a reason people do things like this.
Yeah.
Some smart people thought about this and came up with the right way of doing it. Right, we've got YSH. They will be facing off against We Robot right now.
Yeah, these could be 2 quite interesting games. We've seen, as you say, YSH they've been a late entrant to this team. They only, I believe, the first league session they entered was session number 2, but they've been performing very, very well. Have been picking up speed in this very, very quickly. Now, We Robot's there, we've seen going for the signature sort of up and over approach there, taking Yellowware and moving on to Ponyhurst, whilst Oxford, they've been able to take not Oxmouth, YSH have taken Oxmouth, Toolship, and now Shipping Variable. Flailsley is the next to fall to We Robot, as well as iJumperton, and it looks like there we're going to see YSH try and claim Hattersley just on the very edge, and then immediately lose it as We Robot claim Shipping Variable and sever their connections, which YSH may have realised as they go to try and claim some which is slightly closer to their home zone, but unfortunately they still cannot claim Port Lucent, and so they're going to need to go quite a lot further back. Now, Bagshot is the territory they're lining up to. Now, they can claim, they do have a link from that to the home zone. Now, what was strange there is they were very much inside the territory there for Bagshot, but were moving further back from it, almost to there, to give themselves a bit of an edge before trying to claim it. Now, they don't have a link to iJumperton, which is why that didn't work. YSH there, they're going for a lot of territories there, which if they had links to, they'd be killing their way through the points, but unfortunately they don't.
Against a different team, they'd be scoring very highly here, but they're against We Robot, who are very, very strong right now. And We Robot looked like they might have been heading down towards Port Lucent for that last moment there, but just not quite enough time. Not that it matters. Really, really strong performance from We Robot. And YSH, it looks like their downfall was not checking success on claiming the territories. You need it, to be able to compete against a robot that's capable of cutting you off. You need to be able to check whether you've captured a territory, and if you've not captured a territory, backtrack and go and get your former territories as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, as we say, the games that we run for Student Robotics, on the surface of it, they may seem very simple. It's you drive around, you claim territories, and you make sure they're in a line. But the further you look into it, the more nuanced these games get, the more interesting the mechanics can be once you've got another robot who's trying to go against you and do their own links and everything else. It leads to, I mean, as we've seen in the last 122 matches, there's some very interesting combinations of how things can go. And let's see if the match number 123 is going to be the same. We have the team from Hills Road, number 1, and against the team from the College of Richard Collier's team CLY. Both teams again going for the downwards south-facing approach, and we see a nice diversion there. Collier's going for Swixto, and Hills Road number 1 going for Shipping Variable, and then very quickly off to Beeston and Port Lucent.
That's a really, really quick move into the centre there from Hills Road, but some odd behaviour right now. Like, that was a really strong start, but look at that.
That was nice.
Yeah, they were about to get
there.
that was very close. So this match is much closer than the points might have it look there, because if Hills Road had got Scarsingford there, that would have panned out very differently, and that really came down to the matter of can't have been more than a few hundred milliseconds. They do get Scarsingford now. They do cut off Collier's. Collier's going over the top now. It basically just comes down now to, I think, how quickly Collier's can capture the territories up the top.
They go. Hills Road have stopped doing some form of fidget spinner style spin around in circles and hope for the best style approach, which doesn't really work in this game. You don't get style points for that. Collier's, they're stuck on a territory. Not quite sure what they're doing. They don't seem to be moving much, and Hills Road taking advantage of that and claiming Hivekirk, cutting off a small link to the rest of the arena. Will they be able... Now, they could also sever things by taking Banana Nest, which would lose Banana Nest and Swixto, giving them a huge lead in points and dropping
Yeah,
Colliers down
they
to
need
just 2. But
need to navigate down there though.
yeah, it looks like they might be having some localizing issues there, forgetting that that wall exists, or just not quite understanding where they are.
Yeah, so we had strong performance from Hills Road 1 there. We did see some slightly odd behaviour. It seemed like occasionally get in a situation where they sort of end up sort of spinning on the spot, and I'm not really sure why. And they did get caught on the wall there. But they do beat Colliers there. Colliers, strong, but unfortunately not strong enough against the might of the Hills Road options here. So, yeah. It falls to Hills Road there. Right, next up we have Kegs versus MAI. This should be quite interesting. 2 teams who are really quite strong, but who have really quite different approaches. So Kegs, very much on the sort of reactive, intelligent side, like planning. MAI, happen to know, actually just have a lot of code for individual movements between different territories, but really, really carefully calibrated movements. They clearly spent a very, very long time calibrating these movements really, really precisely. But the actual assembly of these movements together is quite rigid. So Kegs is the smarter planning against MAI with the smoother movement, and it'll be really interesting to see how that pans out in this match.
Yeah, and we can see here the 2 opposing strategies. Kegs there going for the territories at the top, and MAI going for the ones at the bottom.
Yep, Kegs get Pinkton. These are getting Pinkton and getting Badger Ness is a good strategy because they're very, very safe territories with that link back to home. And unfortunately, look at that, MAI has been tripped up. One of their carefully orchestrated movements hasn't worked, and they're now stuck on a wall. Hopefully they can get dislodged from here, but unfortunately that's not looking good for MAI.
Yeah, sometimes you do need that intelligent movement that
Yeah.
will mean you can actually detect, oh look, I'm not moving anywhere, let's try something else. Stubbornness, unfortunately, as I've been told, doesn't actually work.
Yeah. So they do get Yellowware, and they're now heading back. I guess they're reacting there to the change because the walls have now dropped. But possibly they're not in quite the situation they expect, so the movements aren't quite working out the way they expect. They do head down, they do get back to Skarsingfoot. They're still in this match. But they're going to have it's an uphill battle from there. They are going to get a lot of points by taking. Yes, they do get Beeston. Getting Beeston has turned that around for MAI. Now their carefully calibrated movement is coming back into their own. Unfortunately, Kegs are caught out on the side of the arena without many options here.
Yeah, they need to backtrack a very long way to get to a territory that they actually have a valid link to.
Yeah, so as that panned out, MAI got stuck. But once they were able to line themselves back up against Skarsingfoot there, they were able to do really, really well. Basically, all that came down to recapturing that central territory. If their opponents, Kegs had been at the centre and able to immediately capture it back from MAI, I think they might well still have won that. So that really came down to their positioning. A very, very close match. Much closer match than the numbers suggest.
Yeah, the numbers, the points on the leaderboard at a given time doesn't really mean anything. A single territory flip can just completely change the entire landscape.
There it's not like goals because it does flip quite so dramatically, quite so quickly.
Yeah.
Right, up next we have the house robot against TKC, College Tunisia, and they will be in the yellow, so they'll be the ones to watch this time around. Against a very nerfed house robot.
Yes, let's see how our robot fares. TKC nicely there, claiming bananas reasonably quickly, moving on towards Swixto. The Alistair robot there is moving rather slowly, taking toolship. That's probably by design, I have no doubt. We have...
You've seen the code, mate.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
Didn't understand any of it. Now, TKC there,
right.
taking Hivekirk, taking Yellowware. They've now got a very broad attack surface there, meaning they can go for quite a few different territories. And they've chosen for going for Ponyhurst, Flailsbury, and then on to Trumpton. In the meantime, Surus is going for Vaginus.
Vaginus, yeah. TKC taking the north path. Interesting. I'm wondering where they're going to go from here. Like, Pinkston is the obvious next choice, I think. But they might be trying to head back south so they can get Chipping Variable. No, they do go for Pinkton.
Yeah, that's a very... Whilst the right-hand side of the arena there is very much TKC-controlled territories, we're seeing some mixes quite there with things on the left-hand side, but now just single territory flips can, again, massively change the state of play, and now there's a big wash of yellow on that right-hand side. Now, it looks like the next logical step for both robots is probably moving towards Hattersley, which TKC have now lined themselves up to. SRZ
But they're going to lose it.
And they've lost it just as SRZ there takes Beeston, cutting the link, and TKC have decided to illuminate themselves, which actually, under the red glow of the arena, looks rather aesthetic. But
yes, very aesthetically pleasing. Yes, so TKC win that against the house robot. Well done, TKC. Really, it's interesting to see them take that north path. We saw very little of the north path taken during the friendlies. So this is all recent behaviour in the last week.
I don't think we saw it at all. Teams obviously went to the north, but I don't know if we saw any robots immediately turn north and drive it.
They weren't preferentially taking the north path. We saw MAI take a couple in the north and then head back down. And we saw St Paul's and I think Hills Road 2 reliably managing to get up after taking the south. But starting out with the north path is new. It's kind of a, what's it called? Game theory aspect to it. Between which path you take. So interesting to see how that's panning out. Right, up next we have We Robot. See if they do that north path strategy, and they'll be facing off against Harris Westminster. We're seeing Harris Westminster's first appearance in the zone number 1, in the yellow zone. See how they do.
Okay, and as the clock strikes 0 there, we have Team We Robots are again going with the northern strategy there. They're lining up towards Hammer, but unfortunately do not have a link to it. Harris Westminster there, they've gone for the southern approach, but they appear to have stopped halfway towards Bananas there. They should be adequately in range to be able to see it, but maybe they're having some technical issues in not being able to see it.
Well, we did see them get dislodged last time, so hopefully that's what happens again here.
Yeah, they did sit idle and then sort of 30 seconds or so later just suddenly pounce into action, which would be great to see here. But in the meantime, we've got We Robots there going for a spiral style approach there, going sort of up north and then round again, which is it's a very efficient strategy if they want to claim all the ones along the top and then Beeston, Hattersley, Yamalot. to
and
get
then get
a
Yamalot.
huge number of points there.
It seems to be their new
30
trademark
points.
strategy.
It
They
definitely
clearly
feels like
workshopped this
they've
quite
got
hard this
some
week.
kind of driving route strategy there of going for not just sort of first come first serve style thing, going very strategically, trying to get the golden Yamalot token there, and now 38 points is absolutely huge for them, and for any team for that matter. That's an incredible number of points, but still no real signs of life from the Harris Westminster corner.
No, it's unfortunate. I think Harris Westminster may be experiencing yet another Zone 1 curse here.
Yeah, that pesky Zone 1.
What I find really interesting about the Wii Robo performance here is that they were having real trouble in the friendlies last week. I don't know if you remember this, but it went quite badly for them, which is rather surprising. But it absolutely turned that around in the last week.
Yep, that's not happening anymore.
They moved to this new trademark spiral strategy, which they're pulling off really precisely every time. It's going to be doing very well for them. Right, up next, we got SOG are back. St. Olive's Grammar School. Ostensibly team number 2, in reality, them.
Yeah, don't you just love two indexing your teams?
Yes.
The one true numbering system.
2 indexing. They'll be facing off against Elton. So, where are they in the league? So, they're really close in the league right now.
9 and 10.
Yeah.
Neck and neck at the current state of things.
So, yeah, whichever one of them wins this match, will overtake. Yeah, will overtake the other in this league in the tussle for this league position. Off they both go, looking pretty similar so far. St. Olave's the first ones down to the territory. They get Oxmouth. They head now over towards Tallship. Elton, they take Banana Nest. They're heading down towards Switchstow. Again, it's all looking very similar. Just St. Olave's is slightly quicker here. Achieving Variable and Scarsingford, yeah, remarkably similar. I guess that explains why they're in such a similar position. Now, what's going to be interesting here is Beeston. If they both go for Beeston, and they do, interestingly, the later team has a slight advantage because they're the ones who are going to take it off them, and they do. Hattersley did fall to St. Olave's there, but the link was broken by Eltham. And so Scarsingford not able to be taken by St. Olave's there. They do head back, they do get Beeston. Eltham having some slight difficulties navigating out here. And now St. Olave's are in a much stronger position because they were able to get nip in and get Scarsingford there. Eltham try and take chipping variable. They don't manage. They need to head back. They do. They are doing the intelligent thing and heading back, backtracking, trying to take them one at a time. They need to get back towards Scarsingford now. It looks like that's what they're doing. St. Olave's, it looks like they're stuck here. If they crashed, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. We'll have to see how they react when Scarsingford gets taken. No reaction at all.
Just a dead
looks
face
like they
there.
may, yeah, that's very, very deadpan. Looks like they may have crashed here.
That's a shame.
Yeah, which really is a shame. So Eltham's now going to take all their points back off them. So I think this is Eltham's match to lose at this point. They could. One thing that I find interesting, Jake, is that we haven't seen any.
Eltham are winning at the moment, so I sort of disagree. It's their match to lose.
Well, I mean, if they accidentally shaft themselves, I mean.
Yeah, they definitely could.
Then they'll lose the match. The default is that they win. That's what I mean. One thing that actually does happen in this game is that if you claim a territory that you already own, if you double claim, it resets back to being neutral. We saw this happen a couple of times with a weird triple claim from one of the teams. Just 3, I think, in the friendlies. But we haven't seen it at all so far in the league today. We've seen no accidental losing of a territory, so all the teams are being intelligent about.
Yeah, that's exactly
that
why.
so far.
That's exactly why we put the mechanic in, is to help encourage teams to think about: do I already have this claim? Because I'll just claim it again and risk it is it wastes a bit of time, but also it can actually negatively impact you, especially if there are other territories downstream, if there are lots, or even if there's potentially some of the really expensive ones, like the gold and silver ones.
Right, up next, we have Colliers. They'll be appearing again against Barton Peveril. These teams have been... these teams are also neck and neck. Yeah, they are 12th and 13th in the league, or at least they were up to match 126. So a bit of a difference in game points. Barton Peveril more game points. That's primarily down to I think the number of matches. But it's really going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. So Colliers are the first one to get a territory. They do get Oxmouth straight off. Banana Ness up from Barton Peveril, not quite being caught by Barton Peveril there. Colliers head over to the tall ship. Looks like Barton Peveril not doing quite so well this time.
No, they're just driving down into the wall there. That's unfortunate there. We have Colliers there. They've taken shipping variable, moving very nicely there, straight to Port Lucent, claiming that, driving up, and it looks like they're going to go for Beeston and maybe at this point on towards Hattersley. That is glorious performance there from Team CLY. Unfortunately, they're just as I was saying, they were doing amazingly well. As the walls drop on the 1 minute mark, they have, much like Barton Peveril, just sort of frozen. Now, this is a great performance there. They've got 14 points, and as they spring into life, as I say that looks great on my part. But can they go and claim any more? Or no, there we are. We're seeing some intelligence there. They're not going to try and claim shipping variable because they know they already have it, and it will actually do them quite a lot of harm there. That would drop them.
Yeah, they go and get
8 points
instead.
And now moving up, claiming the northern territories there. Again, freezing on one of them there, very slightly. Not a particularly strong performance. Now, they've got 10 seconds left, so they could storm this, and they may be able to get Tudor Hammer, but not if they sit there idling.
Looks like, unfortunately, that'll be a no.
No,
poor
that's still
Peveril.
18 points to 0 is still a very strong performance.
Yeah, Barton Peveril really, really struggling today. That's really unfortunate. Can happen. Last minute technical difficulties, and yeah, it sucks. I mean, so the one big upside for Barton Peveril is that everyone does go through to the knockouts. The better you do in the league, the easier a run you have through the knockouts. However, every team will have a chance of winning the knockouts.
Yes, all teams enter the knockouts. We'll show exactly how the knockouts work, what the knockout structure is at the end of today. So if you're very interested, very much stick around. Also watch the multitude of matches we have until then, but make sure to stick around. Don't just leave as soon as the match is over. Stick around. Make sure you see how the knockouts work.
Next week. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Up next, we have Hills Road number 3, who've been performing pretty strongly today. And they'll be going up against South Wilts.
Yes, this could be quite an interesting match. Both teams, they're reasonably far apart in the league table as it stands. HRS 3 in 7th and South Wilts in 20th, so there's quite a gap. But still, South Wilts have been a very, very strong performance. Even though they were a late entrant into this year's competition, they've been very, very strong performances in previous league sessions, and indeed in this one, as we can see there. They've taken Banana Nest, Switchstow, and Scarsingford. I don't know what HRS 3 are doing. Yeah,
they've crashed.
I don't know. They've driven past Oxmouth, which is basically
a
freebie territory.
I think they've crashed.
Oh, that's That is
that's really unfortunate for them.
Ooh.
That's going to do South Wilts very well. So one thing obvious to say, but South Wilts' position in the league isn't really reflective of their performance at all because they were so late coming in. Obviously, that means they'll have a harder run through the knockouts, but they are a stronger team than that position would suggest.
Yeah, given their performances, that shouldn't hinder them too much. They have been, as we can see now, they're, well, not exactly now, but okay, there we go. They're hobbling around, taking Hive Coat, but we can see there they're very strong performances from the team there. It's
not the smoothest movement of all the robots, but that also doesn't matter.
Gets the job done.
Yeah.
And we can see there they're moving around Hivekirk towards Yellow Air, which they have a claim to. They can do that. Now, where will they go from here? Ideally not into a wall. Ponyhurst is next on their list.
Now they could, from here, capture, if they can get around Ponyhurst, capture Hattersley and Yamalot.
With only a few seconds left. Oh, maybe. Just...
not quite.
No.
They got
clearly trying to line up with it, but I think the fact that there's a tower inside the wall may have confused their orientation a little bit, and just means that they couldn't quite line themselves up perfectly, that's a shame to see.
It's one of the very difficult things about trying to capture Hattersley is that it's because it's embedded in that wall. It's your back off code misfires all the time. It's probably the most difficult territory to capture with functional backup code.
Yeah, and we had Beeston in previous iterations of the Max. It was very similar. It was very much tucked away in a very narrow gap, which meant there wasn't enough room to drive up to it, claim it, and then turn around. You always had to reverse out of it because there was no other way. Somewhat intentionally, because we wanted it to be difficult, but yes, Hattersley is a very interesting one. And again, the fact that there's only the single route up towards Yamalot means that to score very strong points, you do need to claim it.
And speaking of very strong, we have MAI going up against TKC here. Now, MAI currently tied for 4th in the league, including by gain points. And they'll be facing off against
MAI and
against TKC.
Yes, so MAI, they're down in the pink. They have taken Oxmouth, TKC taking Banana Nest, and we're seeing again a sort of mirrored movement there. Shipping variable next to fall as TKC line up to Skysingford. Now, both teams are performing reasonably similarly, but MAI are performing... They're going through things much, much quicker, which may be giving them the advantage at the moment. Team MAI there, they've taken the territories at the top, moving back down to the territories at the bottom. They have taken Port Lucent, Beeston, and now Hattersley, giving them 18 points. And TKC are now storming up, taking yet more of the territories in the north. Unfortunately now, as MAI are moving towards some of these, this may now, as they take Ponyhurst, sever so they can actually massively changing things. Whilst TKC were in the league just 10 seconds ago, it's now a massive 32 points to 6. A huge difference between the teams.
One thing I do want to note here is like the thing we mentioned before about MAI with their carefully orchestrated individual movements. Like the individual movements are quite intelligent. The way they're actually put together is less clever, but they did that, and so now we see them sort of wandering around aimlessly. But before, we saw that really, really nice movement from Skarsingford, where they did that curve round from Skarsingford up, threading the needle between the Hivekirk Tower and the central wall, and taking Ponyhurst. TKC take Beeston back, and that brings the points a little closer, but it's just not quite soon enough.
That the exactly who was in front there was changing so regularly.
Yeah,
there.
that was a fun match to watch.
Lots and lots of leapfrogging with huge point differences. We saw 32-6, and the final score was 20-10. Huge changes just by the odd territory change, territory link, swapping out with very equally matched robots. You'll see a lot of this kind of leapfrogging between the possible scores, and it makes for a very entertaining match to watch, I do have to say.
Yes, it does.
If you see, my opinion is somewhat biased. It's far easier and far more entertaining to try and commentate matches where lots of interesting things are happening, rather than things like, oh, I don't know, the SR2021 final, where after the first 20 seconds, all robots stopped, which, as you can see, brings a pain to Alistair.
Yeah, it's fine. Actually, one thing I have been generally really impressed by the quality of matches in general in this year's competition.
Yeah, I think it's because teams don't have to worry as much about the physical aspects of the robot, because we do that for them. They can concentrate purely on the strategy, and it means a rising tide raises all boats. It's very much helps that if everyone gets some very strong performing robots.
So almost identical timings taking that first territory there, but Hills Road are quicker off the mark there. They head out, they get Scarsingford, they get Beeston, and they get Port Lucent very, very quickly. Chipping Variable is taken by MCK, but it looks like it will be very quickly taken off them by Hills Road. And the Money College are going to have to pull something out of their hat now. They need to either get back and take Chipping Variable, or head up and take the north route. Now look, they are lining up. They take Bajoness. Yes, they're taking the north option, it looks like. They need to line up probably next on Pinkton. Possibly next, they could take Tudor Hammer or head over towards the centre. Yeah, they're going for Tudor Hammer, it looks like. Now, Chipping Variable is the property of Hills Road 1 right now, but Hills Road 1 have kind of stopped. Not sure exactly what they're up to right now. They need to act. Hills Road need to act, because right now, with that capture of Tudor Hammer, the Malay College are in the lead. If Malay College takes Chipping Variable back off Hills Road, no, that knock there was just what. Or maybe it wasn't. I was going to say it's just what Hills Road needed, because we suddenly did see signs of life from Hills Road there again. But Hills Road are now pushing up against that wall. Not sure exactly what they're up to right now. They're just kind of stuck in place. Something buggy from Hills Road team number 1. As the Malay College take Beeston, they line up on Scarsingford, which will also cut the link to Port Lucent. So it's kind of 18-2 is how things have panned out now. And now Malay College are going to line up and take Hattersley as well, get them an extra 4 points, 22-2, out by a factor of 11. And they might even be able to take Port Lucent with a couple of seconds to go. No, not quite enough time, but
not quite. But
my goodness, quite the turnaround. I did not expect that to go that way. Yeah, I did not expect that to go that way. I thought it was going to be a really solid win for Hills Road when they took Hills Road team number 1 when they took Chipping Variable there.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure what, but we said that Malay College needed to pull something out of the hat, and they did. Taking that north option, capturing the extra points of Tudor Hammer, and then going back and taking those central territories back off an oddly still Hills Road.
Yeah, that's, as we say, anything can happen just immediately as things flick through the match. It's just play by play, things can massively change, and it's only when the clock strikes 0 that things happen. Now, as team competitors watching this, if you've enjoyed this year's competition, we very strongly invite you to complete our feedback survey, where you can tell us everything that you think went well, everything you think didn't, and just give us some feedback as to how the competition's going. You can fill that in at tinyurl.com/SR2021 feedback. There's a link A on the screen, and B is also in Discord, posted a few days ago. We very interested in hearing exactly what you have to say. Now, match number 132. Now we have the Student Robotics House of Robot in the pink, And in the yellow, we have HRS number 2. Now, we've seen some slightly weaker performances from all of the HRS robots today. Not quite sitting on full form. Let's see. Hopefully the same won't be said necessarily for HRS2 in this match.
Bit of hubris. See how they do against... Well, I'm imagining they'll probably beat the house robot, but... But who knows? They're now currently lining up. They do manage to line up properly on that central territory Hattersley, and they do take it. So good points there. They're now going to take Chipping Variable off the house robot. Good. I think Hills Road 2 is the most intelligent, or at least it was, in the traditional sense of the Hills Road options. So it should be the most robust to these things. On the other hand, I say that they are now
orbiting Eastern.
they're now doing some Kerbal Space Program and demonstrating an elliptical orbit. Now, hopefully, once their Apoapse or Periapse gets close enough to Beaston, they'll figure out what's going on and move off there. Or maybe this is the strategy. Maybe they're just being really, really defensive.
I mean, it's
possible this is deliberate.
Yeah, they'll be able to see Chipping Variable and sort of all the territories around in that bottom area and immediately be able to react. And I mean, with 15 seconds left, to see what happens as the SRZ robot goes to claim Chipping Variable.
Yeah. The house robot will never take Hattersley or Port Lucent, but it will take Beaston. So... No, it just doesn't. Yeah, so that actually ended up being closer than expected. But the very, very defensive play there, accidental or deliberate, we don't know which, of that Beaston orbit pays off. And in Hills Road 2, take the match against the house robot.
Yeah, that's very nice to see. And so HRS2 currently in 7th, but that win might help them boost up just a little bit more. They've got 208 game points, which is absolute huge. You see there 46 league points at the end of match number 132. Yeah, very strong performances definitely from HRS2 there. I don't really want to congratulate the HRS2, the SRZ robot there, because I don't want to do that.
They've just confirmed in chat that it wasn't a strategy. Well, it works anyway. Accidental winning. Maybe this is an AI thing. It was Hills Road 1 that said they were going to try AI, I think. But...
Yeah, I don't know if... We don't actually know if any teams have done that. I don't think they have. I mean, obviously, they have some form of intelligence, but whether it's, I guess, a form of artificial, but I don't think it's machine learning in the sense, although I am far from qualified to talk anything about machine learning. Speaking of intelligent machines, in this match we have Kegs Chelmsford and St. Paul's, two very strong performing robots, currently sat in 8th and 9th position in our league, and St. Paul's there moving very quickly and very precisely to Port Lucent, claiming it and moving to Beaston.
St. Paul's were a kind of middle of the pack team in the earlier leagues, but now they are rather fearsome. And they get all the central territories. Interesting back and forth there. I'm not sure what they were doing there. They need to go down and get Banana Ness. I think that's the strategy. They do. Line up presumably on Switchstone next. Hopefully Kegs can manage to navigate themselves up towards the north, take the north route, before it all turns into a wash of magenta pink. St. Paul's do turn themselves out of Hattersley there, so they don't manage to capture it on the first try, but they also know that they are able to retry it, and they do. Banana Nest and Switchstone are claimed back by Kegs. As Kegs claim Scarsingford once again, this could still go either way. They head down towards Port Lucent. They need to line up. They get it, shoot a hammer going over to St. Paul's there. Presumably, yes, Kegs are going to go and claim chipping variable, which is going to cut off a lot of points there.
Ooh,
So Kegs now in the lead.
change.
If they can get Beeston and Hattersley, that'll do them very well. They're lined up wrong on Beeston. They need to turn themselves around to get Beeston. But St. Paul's having problems of their own, odd navigation issues, banging into Trumpeton repeatedly. The Kings are dethroned.
Ooh, that
Kegs beat St. Paul's.
Yeah, by 2 points.
2 points.
But a win is a win. Doesn't matter how many points you score, so long as it's more than your opponent.
Yeah, a really, 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 really impressive performance from Kegs there.
Yeah, both those teams have, since the last 2 leagues, they've come on leaps and bounds. As you say, they were both. Kegs were definitely a lot higher, but St. Paul's were. It's just the one league, actually. Anyway, yes, enough subtle Hot Fuzz references. Next match will be...
it was not subtle.
Yeah, it was very much not subtle. Match number 134 between Team YSH and HRS4. Now, these teams are very much, because the YSH was such a late entry into this match, they aren't particularly close in our league table. Positions 15 and 5. So quite a big gap, but that, as we say, because they're late entrances, their position in the league doesn't tell a story of their performance. They're both very, very strong teams, so let's see how their match together goes.
Clawing back spaces in that league will necessarily help with the league position. So hopefully they can climb the greasy pole a bit. Both teams going quite a mirrored strategy here. Tall ship for YSH, switch stove for Hills Road 4. Now YSH do this odd movement where they go right up to a tower and then back off a fixed amount before doing the claim. So they're slightly slower at capturing, but their movement seems quite precise. So they're able to go in and get Beeston before Hills Road 4 were able to, even though Hills Road 4 were quicker at getting Skarsingford than YSH were at getting chipping variable. And indeed, they go up and get Hattersley, and they take Skarsingford off HRS4. Now heading down towards Port Lucent. And Port Lucent also falls to YSH. And now they line up, take Badger Ness as well. Kind of stuck in that gap. That gap's quite difficult to navigate through, but it looks like they are going to do it. Ponyhurst, in the meantime, falls to HRS4, who are taking the north route. They get what's it called, Flalesbury, which is good for them. Good point, and gives them a route over towards taking Trumpeton. But Trumpeton might be quite contested here if YSH can free themselves from that little difficult gap between Badgerness and the wall. We've seen MAI able to thread that gap very carefully, but few others. Now, Hills Road 4 looks like they were about to take Trumpeton there, but they weren't quite close enough to do it. Bit of a positioning error there. Hopefully they can line up. No, they don't quite have enough time yet now. So there that match ends. 18 points for YSH. Yasin Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah. They are in position number 15, or were in position number 15, but that pushes them up a bit. Good for them. Against Hills Road, who stay much where they are.
Yeah, very, very strong performances from, well, I mean, everyone in this competition, but both those teams were reasonably evenly matched as well, which is
good match.
Great to see.
Next up, we've got House Robot appearing, I think, for the final time today. And it will be in Zone 1, facing off against Hills Road Team 3. Who... Was it Hills Road Team 3? Forgive me, I can't remember. Was it Hills Road 3 that I think it was that crashed last time when they appeared in Zone 1?
They crashed in... No, there's Crash in Zone 0, I thought it was it?
Sorry, Zone 0.
Yeah.
Pink zone, yeah. So let's see if that bug is replicated.
Yeah, we definitely gotta hope not, because besides those crashes, it's a very strong team, but technical issues really can get the best of absolutely anyone, and anything can happen if just one small bug can massively tank things. This is why testing is so important. Now, it seems they've been able to
lose the house robot, but it can happen.
They've claimed Oxford. They've got past the point they crashed last time.
Okay,
Maybe,
all right. Good. Relief.
Maybe they're fine. And they go take toolship and claim shipping variable whilst the house robot takes Banana S and Switch Stow. Now, XRS3 there, they've taken Beeston. They've decided not to go for Hattersley this time, moving instead towards Bagdeness, which is an interesting tactic there. I guess it means moving to the north will get them. There's more territories there and thus more points. Now taken Pington and Idrumpton. Now I'm assuming at this point they'll either go to Hattersley or Flalesbury. Okay, there we go. Moving to Hattersley, claiming that, and then maybe on to Yamalot.
Yeah, they get Yamalot.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, no, they don't.
There we go. Second time they did in fact get it, but no, that first time, maybe they didn't call it quite enough time. It's obvious they do appear to be using the async territory claiming mechanism, so it's possible they just timed it out a little bit. Oh.
Contention there.
Yeah, lots of contention there around Ponyhurst.
Ooh. The house robot tries to take Ponyhurst, but Hills Road 3 goes, nope.
It's having absolutely none of that. Way. None of that at all. And now almost all the links that the house robot had to anything in that top area has been completely taken by XRS number 3. It's just, as I said, it's just wandering around the arena trying to find things it has a claim for.
It's taking the long route to Beeston, I think.
It's a very long route and has decided to
have a tussle
with shipping variable.
Yeah. Yeah, well done. Well, I'm really glad we got to see what the actual performance of HRS3 is there after the incident last time. So, yeah, they do a really, really strong performance there. Good to see. Doing some North stuff as well. We'll see if we get any North stuff out of this next match, which is going to be MAI. They'll be facing off against MCK. So MAI, we've talked a fair bit about them. They're currently position number 2 in the league overall. They are, in fact, on the same number of league points as Hills Road 1, just tied broken by game points. With those very, very, very well orchestrated, careful movements. They'll be facing off against MCK, who we are seeing for their second time today in their second time in Zone 1, I should say. This is their 4th appearance overall, I think, here today. MAI probably the favourites for this match, but it really still could go either way. This is MCK's match to take away from MAI, I think.
Yeah, they could go anyway, really. It's MAI there taking Toolship and Swixto.
Yeah. So the strongest start from MAI, kind of as expected. MAI are able to thread that gap really reliably. That's something that I don't think any other team has been able to do. And look at that lovely movement as they head back down south, dodging deftly around Vaginess there. In the meantime, Hivekirk taken by MCK. They head up towards Yellowware as well. They're heading up to the top, heading for Scarborough Fire, I think, or at the Malay College there. Scarsingford is taken by MAI. They take Hivekirk as well. Get caught in the wall very slightly there, but brush it off. Scarborough Fire does get taken by the Malay College. Yamalot now. Yamalot taken by MAI, and they're heading over to Itron with a really, really strong performance from MAI. They're taking an awful lot of territories here. They head up towards Flalesbury, get that as well. I don't think they're going to quite succeed in getting a full house. I don't think it's unlikely we're going to see a second full house today. But nevertheless, dead strong.
Oh, unfortunately, MCK there look like
they're just stuck in a capture loop.
Stuck in a capture loop there, trying to claim Beeston. We can see the progress indicator telling us that's what's happening, but unfortunately, because they've got no claim link to it, they can't. They don't have Scarsingford anymore, so unfortunately, they're probably going to be stuck in that loop unless they have some kind of back-off logic. And MAI there, it looks like they've got stuck on the corner of the arena wall, but just as the max hits 0, 38 points to 10 is a very solid win for MAI there. For MAI. Very, very well done to them.
I love that movement. So there's that one movement they do where they dodge around the side territory, either Badgeness or Hivekirk, as they're heading north back down to south. It's so smooth. They've clearly spent so long calibrating that movement really carefully. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's when you're doing these very well-defined, very well rehearsed and tuned movements that you can get some very beautiful looking curves almost around.
It's quite pretty.
It's quite pretty, yes, around different territories, and it's also very efficient. Like, because they've tuned it perfectly, they know they won't hit other things because their movement is so tuned, and hopefully as well they're using sensors to augment it to make sure that they are actually going where they want to be going. And it's clearly, and that match shows, is working out really well for them.
Yeah. Okay, Hills Road 2 up next, currently 5th in the league. They are going to be facing off against South Wilts. South Wilts are strong. Hills Road 2 probably slightly favoured in this match, but we'll have to see how this turns out. And one thing I want to note here is look at the angle they approach their starting territories from. Now, Hills Road 2 doesn't head. They do make a bit of a slip up there and don't manage to capture Toolship. Hills Road 2 heads south, but they head towards the east side of Oxmouth. They don't head directly towards it. They head towards it in a position that will put them in a better place to head out after capturing it. Whereas South Wilts was on the wrong side of Banana Nest after they took it, and that set them off in a slightly worse position to get out. South Wilts are doing well. They go out, they get Beeston. That does put them in the lead. They block Hills Road 2 from getting Scarsingford, and they are heading down now and getting Port Lucent. Going to be a bit of a tussle out in the middle here. Beeston taken back by Hills Road 2, who are now going to head up presumably towards Hattersley. Hivekirk taken the slightly safer territories taken here by South Wilts, but they are currently tied. Now, if HRS 2 can go out and take Scarsingford, they do, and that breaks the link to Port Lucent. So they take 4 points away and gain 2, giving an advantage of 6. But South Wilts, they're heading up north. They're taking the north route. They get Yellowware. They're heading up to Ponyhurst, Port Lucent, and now the Toolship before leading to Hills Road 2. South Wilts, they're making a claim on Hattersley, but they don't have the link to it. What are they going to do now? They need to back off. They need to hopefully head up, take Fellsbury, but it's not clear exactly what they're going to be doing at this point. They're just kind of stopped. Hills Road 2. I think I see what's happening. Okay, there comes a point where Hills Road 2 crashes. Presumably what happened when they were doing their orbiting behaviour last time around Beeston is that they crashed and just had the motors running constantly. Because they had differential drive, it was doing in a circle, and now here it happens to crash while they're stopped. So a bit of an issue there. Well, there's going to be logs coming out sent to all the teams' Discord channels. So hopefully all the teams will be able to use that to debug the various things that have gone wrong in the matches today.
Yeah, we don't send them out for no reason. It's very intentional. These logs can be vital to working out what exactly your robots are doing. Sometimes robots make perfect sense. Other times, we have no idea what they're doing, and those logs can at least help shed a little bit of light so we can understand what they're doing and hope either how we can make sure that always happens or hope that that never happens again.
Deep boot robots.
Yes. That's...
Alrighty. Coming up next, we've got another Hills Road. It's going to be Hills Road 4 this time, and they're going to be facing up against Terrace Westminster. Again, a Hills Road favoured match. Hills Road there is a kind of a clump of Hills Roads. Hills Roads up at positions 2 to 5 of the league. MAI are out ahead of the pack, but Hills Road generally a very strong college. All of their teams doing well. Part of that, quite possibly, is that they're able to compete against each other, so they've sort of got a sort of ongoing friendly situation.
So, HRS number 4 there, moving on Oxmouth, and it seems HWM1 again, they may be suffering from the corner 1 curse. We saw again when they were last in that corner that they just froze at almost exactly the same point. The simulator does, of course, let you test in both corners, and we highly recommend that all teams give it a shot. There's some documentation in the docs, funnily enough, which tells you exactly how to do this, and we highly recommend give it a shot. If you have any issues, of course, we are always available, for some definition of always, in the Discord and in the YouTube chat during events. Ask some questions and we will gladly help you out. Something which definitely doesn't need any helping out right now is HRS4, which, given they're currently running unopposed, are storming through that left-hand side of our arena, now at the top taking Flailsbury, maybe having some slight localization issues as they go to find their next territory victim, which they have decreed to be Ponyhurst. After Ponyhurst, they're now lining up towards Yellowware, taking that one too, maybe heading towards Skull of Fire, or not. They're in fact maybe going towards Hattersley and trying to claim Yamalot. Or, in fact, I have no idea what they're doing, and maybe heading for Hivekirk for some strategic reason.
I think what's happening there is that they're heading for Scarsingford.
I think you might be right. Yeah, they're moving very slightly, trying to move around it, and unfortunately there's this giant big blue thing called a wall in the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but, I mean...
Yeah.
20 points at the end of a match is still a very strong performance from them, and that's a nice amount of points for them that will nicely go and contribute towards their position in the league and maybe a more favourable seeding in our knockouts.
Yeah. So, coming up next, we have We Robot against Eltham. Now, We Robot and Eltham are currently very, very close in the league. We Robot are in position number 7, Eltham in position number 8. They have exactly the same number of league points. They've one loss and draw in exactly the same number of matches. So they are quite close. However, in game points, We Robots accumulated 258 lifetime game points, whereas Eltham only has 154. In fact, I think We Robot is actually the outright leader overall in lifetime game points. So We Robot probably slightly favoured here, but that really is slightly. These teams do have the same number of league points. They are very close. So fascinated to see how this pans out. We're going to presumably see that trademark spiral that we've seen from We Robot before. They're heading up north. Eltham heads south. Eltham takes Banana Ness, turns around, lines up to go and grab Switchdough. Pinkton falls to We Robot. They head up for Trumpson. Yeah, this is the spiral strategy again, isn't it? Presumably next. Yeah. Flailsbury. I'm more interested to see kind of what Eltham does. So Scarsingford, obvious next target. They get it. The thing is that they're going to get caught out from behind here.
Yeah.
So the thing is that it's easy to like calibrate your like that tussles in that central area in the sort of south center are something that happens a lot, and you can calibrate quite well for how to deal with those. But most of the calibration assumes that the other team you're going to be coming against is like taking the direct route in, like capturing, Oxmouth or on an S would be the thing which would seal it for you. But with those extra routes in because they went north first, we robots are in a really strong position for this tussle.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of tussling there going on between Shipping Variable, Hattersley and Beeston. They're just slowly rotating, and it seems now we robots have gone, well, I've played them all, let's move on, which means
I think
Elton being slightly behind, they're saving there. It's Beeston, Shipping Variable, and if they go to Hattersley, then that's going to give them the win at this point.
We robot was premature celebration from that tussle. Now hopefully they can get down. Yeah, they are still going to take this, but unless Elton can get Hattersley in the next few seconds.
If they take Scarsingford, that's going to wipe out most of Elton's points.
Oh, yeah, that could have been much. It could have gone quite differently.
Yeah.
I think it was a strategic mistake for Robot to continue the spiral there and go around and claim the Amalot. I think they would have been better placed to just stay down south and carry on with the tussle.
Stay there, maybe moving back behind Elton there and
secure Scarsingford more.
But as we said, a very interesting match. They use as we say, exactly the same number of league points as we went into that match. So obviously, not quite so much now, but very equally placed, equal strength of robots there, leading to a very, very interesting match. And of course, if teams are wanting to replicate that, the logs and everything else will be particularly useful in debugging things. We will also, shortly after the end of this stream, we will be putting chapter markers into the YouTube VOD, which means you can very quickly scrub through the entire match, the entire video, find the one that you need, and do that without having to quite listen to my analysis voice for a further 2 and a bit hours, which I don't think I'd wish on my worst enemy.
Had enough of us. Okay. St. Paul's now they're going to be facing off against Colliers. St. Paul's take Oxmouth. St. Paul stuff ensues. St. Paul's go for the more aggressive thing here, which is one of the interesting things they do. If they don't go for tall ship and switch though immediately, they go straight up to Shipping Variable and Scarsingford. It's the bolder play. They now have Port Lucent now, Beeston. Now, Colliers are here. They're going to go and take Port Lucent, or are going to attempt to take it, but I don't think they didn't get there quite quickly enough. And instead, St. Paul's get Scarsingford before they're able to do anything. Now, Colliers need to realise what's happened here, go and try and take Scarsingford, and unfortunately Colliers not really paying enough attention to how things are panning out. Bit of a bump here. Some kicking back and forth, but we'll see how they react to that.
By freezing, apparently.
St. Paul's is pushed up against the wall here. If Colliers have got their motors running full ahead, I don't know that there's an awful lot St. Paul's can do about this situation. They could try and apply a torque with some differential drive, and that might dislodge them, but I think St. Paul's have been stuck there by Colliers. I don't think it's a deliberate plan by Colliers, because it wouldn't make any sense for them to do that here with a 16-0 lead.
No, that's very much shooting themselves in the foot a little bit to say, no, I'm not going to do anything. I mean, granted, it does stop St. Paul's getting any further points.
Robs them of their opportunity to claim a full house.
Again.
Again. Oh, they're good. They're so good.
Ugh. Yeah, and from a rookie team as well.
Yeah, rookie. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Right, and that closes out that match. Right, that was the last appearance we had from St Paul's and from Colliers in the league.
Yeah, we're now moving on the penultimate match. Match number 141 is coming up.
It's the anti-penultimate match, is it not?
Oh yeah. No, wait. No. Yes. Maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Third to last.
3 to match. Yes, that. I can't read. Match 141. 2 matches after this match between Kegs Chelmsford in the pink and Barton Peveril will be in the yellow. Now, Kegs Chelmsford, they're sitting in 9th position in our league at the moment. Barton Peveril are down in, again, not being able to read makes this difficult, 14th place. So, still some differences between the teams, but Barton Peveril have shown they are a very, very strong team. So this could again be a very interesting match.
Yeah. Kegs probably favoured, but we'll see how Barton Peveril do against him.
I think they're definitely favoured or otherwise. I think it's that Barton Peveril are definitely going to give Kegs Chelmsford a run for their money. 100% they will not go down without a fight. So let's see how this one goes. Kegs Chelmsford there going for the northern approach. Barton Peveril going for the southern and deciding instead to go straight into a wall. That's unfortunate. Now, if I remember correctly, they may have done this the last time they were in corner 1.
They did.
Oh dear. Come
Sorry,
on, Barton Peveril. That's... You gotta make sure to test in every corner, because...
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just, especially in the league, you throw away half your points.
It seems like the Zone 1 curse is the only thing we ever talk about on stream, but it is real.
Yes, it is.
It will happen to you.
It could be catastrophic when it comes to the knockouts, because you may be put in corner 1 for a knockout, and if you have a corner 1 bug and fail, that could be it. You're done. So definitely make sure as much as possible, do as much testing as you possibly can. And I will never stop saying that, because, I mean, everyone should test things as often as they can. We run tests internally here, usually, with some of our kit to make sure that, the live stream stuff, is it going to work?
Yeah.
Usually it does.
And we get very stressed about it.
Yes. So now, Kegs Chelmsford, they're taking so many territories. They're giving them 22 points. They have Hattersley. It looks like they're positioning to take Hivekirk and then potentially Ponyhurst and Yamalot are the next ones on their list.
Oh, poor Barton Pev.
There's Hivekirk. There's Ponyhurst. And with 15 seconds, they decide not...
Yeah,
that's a lot of flicking around there.
That was a positioning move.
Yeah, it's very nice to look at, but also there it is, proving very effective, giving them 34 points. Ooh, that's got to sting Barton Peveril.
Fair play to Kegs though. I mean, they're doing. They put some really good intelligence into this robot. More than they had in the first couple of leagues, and it's paying off for them.
It really, really is. Unfortunately, yeah, Barton Peveril. Oh, that corner 1 bugs are prevalent and painful, and just gotta get on them. And of course, if you're having specific issues, Discord, great place to get some help. We're more than happy to come in and give you some help.
So coming up next, we have TKC, College Champion Persia, and they'll be facing off against Hills Road Team Number 1. Final appearance for both teams. This is the second to last match of the day. Hills Road 1 favoured. They are likely... They'll push themselves up in the league, which will, and it really changes whether they go up into 4th place or into 2nd, whether they win this match.
Yeah, this one is actually the penultimate match this time, because now I can count.
This is the true penultimate match, not the false one.
Yes.
Because it turns out that, Jake, in fact, can count and read.
Yay!
Yay! Hills Road 1 going for the aggressive option. TKC slightly more conservative. They get tall ship before going for chipping variable. Beeston falls to Hills Road 1. They head down and then take Port Lucent as well. Badger Ness is the choice for TKC. But chipping variable stolen away from them by Hills Road. Who then go and take Badger Ness straight off them. How rude. This is I see a pattern emerging here. Oh, I don't see a pattern emerging here.
I see some
spinning. I was going to say, yeah, the pattern was going to be that they go for Pinkton, but they're having a bit of trouble lining up on Pinkton at Hills Road 1. They're taking the Anakin Skywalker strategy here. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Spinning is a good trick sometimes. In claiming territories, not a great one. We've seen some teams spinning themselves out of the territory.
See, TKC was in the lead there, but unfortunately, all hinged on that one link in I Trumpeton, and Hills Road were able to take it off them because the links were chipping variable. And unfortunately, I don't think Costa and Costa are properly checking whether they've actually taken each territory as they try. And so it's just sort of a mechanical process for them. Now they do get chipping variable back, which does give them a good advantage. And they are able to go and get Beeston, and that will put them into the lead against Hills Road 1. So the bit of an underdog story here. And they do get a good bronze territory to boost them at the end there as well. Not quite taking Skarsgård, but it doesn't matter. So TKC beating out Hills Road 1 there. Hills Road 1 really, really barnstorming early performance, but caught out there by some odd issues where they had some possibly localization troubles up at that top left corner. Weren't able to get themselves around Pinkton, and lost out as a result.
Ooh, that's a shame. I mean, that is great performance, as we've seen. Some TKC have been doing incredibly well given their late start and rookie nature in this year's competition.
Yeah, I think that jumps TKC up 3 places in the league. That win there.
That is nice. Yes.
Yeah, very nice for them.
So, final match, both of today and of the league. Match number 143 between St. Olave's number 2, Team SR2021, and Team YSH from Brunei. These teams, SR2021 are in 10th, YSH are slightly lower, down in 15th, but not a huge number of points separate them, so could be a very interesting final game for the league. Let's see how it goes. Both teams there. We have Oxford there. Now it seems YSH there, I don't know what they're doing there. They've skipped Bagionist and switched over entirely, saying, YOLO this, I'm going to take Yellowware directly. That is not how the game works at all. You cannot do that. That is illegal. YOLOware, yes. Now, St. Olave's 2 going the correct way. We have Oxmouth, Chipping Variable, Beeston, and Tool Ship. And now they are correctly taking Hattersley because they have a valid claim to it. Now, I have no idea what has happened there with YSH. It looks like SOG2 are going to work out what it is, what exactly is going on, but no idea. And there's a minute left, and both teams seem to not be moving. I absolutely no idea what happened there with YSH. They just decided, I don't want to follow your rules, and have decided to just do whatever they want.
So we end on the jam at the end of this league.
That's a very interesting jam. St. Olaf's 2 with a great performance there, taking a load of territories, taking Hattersley, and then getting stuck at Fizzle. YSH, no idea what happened at the start of this match. It was a very beautiful arc as they drove it, but it had function.
I think they set their motors to a constant speed. I think it was just a constant speed on both motors, and they just immediately crashed.
Yeah.
So it just described an arc, and it happened to get them out of that starting zone. But that's a shame.
That is unfortunate, but that's quite a way to end at least the module session for today with
and the league overall. So congratulations all teams. That was the very last match of the league, match number 143. In a few seconds we'll have it up on the website, and we'll be able to do a rundown of the final state of the league, and then I will talk you, but quickly before we do that, I will talk you through what is going to happen next week in the knockouts. So there are 17 teams who are going to be competing in these knockouts. The knockouts will consist of 4 rounds. And by 4, I actually mean 5. Because I can see, like Jake, I can count. So the first round is the play-in. That will take place between the teams who are at the bottom 2 positions of the league, South Wilts and Harris Westminster. They will be playing in to get that spot in the whatever it is, 8th finals, the heats. For whichever team gets through to the heats, this is then a straight single elimination tournament. There's a round of 16, a round of 8, a semi-finals round of 4, and then the grand finals a round of 2. Winning robot will go through to the next round. Losing robot will drop out. These are seeded based on the league positions. So once we get to the heats, position 1 in the league, which is MAI, are going to be playing the playoff winner. Position 2 in the league will be playing position 15. Position 3 in the league will be playing position 14, and so on and so forth. There will be, whatever that is, N matches where N is 159 minus 144 plus 1. And we will be playing that at the same time at 12 o'clock UK time, 1100 UTC next Saturday. So let's have a quick look down the final state of the league. At the bottom, having dropped out, unfortunately, Lawrence Sheriff and Wisbeach. South Wilts in position number 20. This is in large part down to their late entry. The House Robot, blah, blah, blah. King Edward VI, another dropout, unfortunately. SOG1, again, disappeared. The emotion to their colleagues in SOG2. Harris Westminster at the bottom there, on position number 16. Above them, YSH and MCK, yes, and Sultan Hadi Hassanabokir and the Malay College. Above them, Colliers on 41 league points, but tied with them on league points, edging out ahead on the game points, Barton Peveril. College Tunkakursia with a lot more game points, ahead on 43 league points in position number 11. The combined St Olave's Grammar School in number 10. Eltham above them. St Paul's above them, representative of their lower performance earlier on, followed by the dramatic improvement we saw today. Hills Road 3 in position 7. We Robot coming up in position 6, although still in the lead overall on game points for We Robot. Kegs Chelmsford in number 5, 1 league point ahead of We Robot. And 1 league point ahead of them are both Hills Road 2 and Hills Road 1. Hills Road 1 edging out into 3rd because the game points, Hills Road 2 in 4th. Hills Road number 4 in second place on the 55 league points, but in position number 1 with 56. Leaping out up against the Hills Roads today is Gymnasia Markt Indersdorf, MAI. Congratulations, all teams. It's been a long time coming, this final state of the league. It's been, 4-5 grueling months of work to get to this point. You've all done amazingly. The matches were really, really good today. Some really intelligent movements, some really, really close matches. Well done, everyone. Go back, make the changes you want to make for the grand finals next week. We're around if you want to ask any questions, get any help. Good luck.
Yeah, so as Alistair says, the very next thing in the Student Robotics 2021 competition is the knockouts and grand finals. These will be happening next week at 12 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. UTC. Everything comes down to that. That set of matches will decide the winners and the losers. At that point, the first, second, and third position places will be announced alongside the Rookie Award, the Committee Award, and the other one. Online Presence. That one. Presence. Yes. Online Presence. Yes. Some slight caveats with the upcoming league session, upcoming knockouts even, which is that if you fail to resubmit code between now and the deadline for code, which will be 8 p.m. UK time on Friday, we will be using whatever code you submitted today. If you submit, we will be using whatever code you submitted today. So if you want to make changes, make sure you make the changes and make sure you get them to us by 8 p.m. on Friday. Otherwise, well, those changes may be for nothing. Now, as I mentioned during the match, of course, we welcome all feedback from competitors based on the entire duration of the competition this year. The URL for that, again, is tinyurl.com/SR2021 feedback. We want to hear from all of you, as many as possible. The more feedback you can give us, the better we can make SR 2022. And with that, I can say we very much look forward to seeing you all next week for these knockouts and grand finals. So it's goodbye from Alistair.
See you around.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.